So, ladies and gentlemen, now brace yourself for a special musical performance. One of India's finest jazz and fusion flautists, founder and soundsmith of Brand Music Asia's first company dedicated to designing and managing the sonic identity of a brand. Meet Rajiv Raja, a creative powerhouse who straddles the two worlds of brands and music, having a rocking time doing so. Ladies and gentlemen, this unique act promises to be that harmonious interlude in our thought-provoking discussions on AI in marketing. Well, with over 25 years in advertising, Rajiv has worked on plethora of Indian and global brands. And today at Brand Music, he's created unique sonic identities for several iconic brands. With these strong credentials in music and branding is followed, Rajiv founded Brand Music. He created the term MOGO, or musical logo, and says that in this digital age, a MOGO is the new logo. So today, Rajiv is here sharing some companies' path-breaking work, but also talking about the amazing possibilities for brands when music, emotions, and AI come together. So ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself for an ear-opening session. Let's welcome none other than the founder and soundsmith Brand Music, Mr. Rajiv Raja. Thank you so much.
Could I have the clicker? Hi, everybody. Welcome back after lunch. So today, we're going to be talking about a very interesting space. A space where sound, music, emotions, and AI can come together. But before we begin, let me tell you a little bit about our journey. So I have with me my co-founder and CEO, Ajit Verma. Ajit, could you stand up, please? Say hello. And the rest of the Brand Music team. Very excited to be here. So essentially, we come from an advertising and marketing background, but I've also been a musician all my life. So luckily, I kept music going through my career. And today, I'm able to bring these two worlds of branding and music together. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's really what we are about. So let's understand the power of sound, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little bit of flute. So this is my concert flute. And I jokingly say I work by day at Brand Music and I play by night. So I have a professional band and we tour all over India. It's an Indo-jazz band. It's called Rajiv Raja Combine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a short piece on my flute. And I invite all of you to just close your eyes and go where the music takes you, right? You'll probably see some imagery. You may feel some emotions. It'll trigger some memories. And we'll come back and have a chat about what you all saw and felt, at which point I want some interaction from you all. Okay, deal? Okay. So eyes closed, everybody. Just listen to the music. Don't analyze it. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Does anybody want to start one word of an image you saw, or an emotion you felt, or a memory that was triggered? There's no right or wrong answer, yeah. A trip to the mountains many years ago. Great, fantastic. Anybody else? Sound of water flowing in a river. Wonderful. Yes? A peaceful morning. Lovely. Anybody? Yes? Sorry? Sound of rain. Okay, great. Does everybody? Yes, yes. There's somebody at the back. A night full of stars. Okay. Okay, that's a new one, and I'll tell you why. But does everybody more or less agree with what other people have said? Yeah? Did you get that kind of feeling of nature, of water, of greenery? Yeah, so it's amazing. You know, this is the power of sound, how it transported you to a place without any visuals there, right? You actually saw imagery. And it's amazing, wherever in the world we've played this piece of music, not just to an Indian audience. A gentleman from Russia went back to the mountains in Georgia and saw waterfalls and butterflies, right? So there is a reason everybody's feeling this kind of, seeing imagery of nature and feeling these emotions of serenity, of calmness, of morning, sunrise, etc. It's not by accident, it's by design. So this particular scale that I played, or rag, is in Western terms, it's called a pentatonic scale, right? It uses only 5 notes in the scale, these 5 notes. That's it. And these 5 notes, the pentatonic scale, is universal to humanity. Every single musical culture has some form of the pentatonic scale, even the most basic of musical cultures. Now, most of y'all, there was one person who saw night, but most of y'all will only see day when you hear this piece of music, right? That's more or less guaranteed. You'll probably see sunrise, you'll see water, you'll see nature, etc. And now, you'll also feel calm and nice and generally happy. But I can change that with one note change, okay? So if I take the original 3 notes that I played, and I change one note, only the 3rd note, did you feel sad? Sense of melancholy? Yeah? So one note, and you've virtually moved from happiness to sadness, and you've probably moved from dawn to dusk, right? So this is the power of sound. And when we began our journey as brand music over a dozen years ago, we said, look, if we are to add meaningful things to brands, we need to understand the science of sound. And in our Indian raga system, it's amazing. For 5,000, 10,000 years, you know, all scales have been classified, which is why when you go for an Indian classical concert, you will hear morning ragas in the morning concerts, afternoon ragas for afternoon concerts, and evening ragas for evening concerts, etc. Now, what are these different scales? They're just permutations and combinations of musical notes, but it is also known that certain kinds of scales can create certain kinds of emotions, and other kinds of scales can create different kinds of emotions, right? So we said we need to understand this science of sound, and we've gone deep into the science of sound, how rhythm affects emotions, how an instrument affects emotions, how a different musical composition can affect your emotion. But what are we doing this for? We're essentially doing this to create the unique sound of a brand. And early in our journey, we used to, create a master sound for a brand. And we also created a term we call MOGO, or musical logo. And today, it's really heartening that this has become part of global parlance. And hopefully one day it'll get into the dictionary. because we are getting calls from brands, even globally, saying we want a MOGO. So what is a MOGO? It's a musical logo. We say it's the shortest distance between a brand and a consumer's heart, right? And today, it's important that brands understand that they not only need a logo, but they need the sensorial dimension of sound, and that's why a MOGO becomes important. I'll tell you more about it as we go along. So this is what we do. We design and manage the sonic identity of a brand, designing a master sound, but also managing in today's complex digital environment, how do brands use sound across different kinds of applications? And that becomes very important. We've got a simple process we call MUSE, or Musical Strategy Exercise, and essentially it's about understanding the brand in the first stage, creating sounds which fit the personality of the brand, and finally creating a sonic identity system. Once we do this, now look at the ear points, right? So the marketing jargon is touch points. Your brands are visually consistent across touch points. How can brands be sonically consistent across ear points? That becomes very important in this day and age. So look at the possible ear points. It could be a podcast, it could be retail, it could be television, it could be digital content, it could be social media, digital activation, even on your product, on apps, etc., or playlists. All of this on Spotify, you can have your sonic identity imbued and embedded in. And that gives you tremendous possibilities to create a 360-degree surround sound for your brand. Now, 4 years ago, we were invited by MasterCard to create their global sound, and we created the sound of MasterCard across 190 countries. It was a fantastic exercise. So there is a bit of a process we go through where we try and understand the brand as if it were a human being. I'll just touch upon some of the parameters that MasterCard spoke about their brand. They said, look, we create priceless moments, so magical, a feeling of magical needs to come through. But we are also there for everybody, for every person, because we are the debit card, credit card category, cutting across gender, geography, etc. So we created what we call a MOGOscape, which is a 90-second master composition for the brand. Embedded within the MOGOscape is the MOGO, or musical logo. And we also created a mini MOGO. Now, a MOGO typically is around 3 seconds. A mini MOGO is under 1.5 seconds. And today, a lot of fintech brands and a lot of other brands realize that they need a mini MOGO for applications, for notifications, alerts, so on and so forth. So let me just play a little bit of MasterCard's master sound that we created. Just look for those magical tones. They wanted a sense of optimism to come through in the emotions. All of that comes together in the MOGOscape. I'll play a little bit of it. It's a longer piece, but the melody is very simple. And I want you to sing it with me. Ta-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra. Ta-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra. Absolutely. So now what could be the MOGO or the musical logo? Let's have a listen. That's the musical logo. Now, it is very interesting. We had a conversation. Should the musical logo be ta-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra? Or should it be ta-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra? Right? Since optimism was one of their key parameters, the ascending note conveys optimism and a story yet to unfold. But the descending note closes the circle. That probably work for brands which are more in the caring category. So that's the Mogo. Ta-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra. Now let's hear the Mini Mogo, 1.5 seconds, and we'll show you how it's been all amplified. So the Mini Mogo. Okay, it's a digital sound. It's lower res because it has to play on apps. And it plays every time a MasterCard is swiped on POS machines anywhere in the world. At last count, 57 million outlets. And we come to more of that. So this is really the building blocks of the sonic identity. Let's see how it played out on the television. Now listen to all these elements come together on the TVC. Listen to the background score especially. So this is the advantage of creating a sonic theme. It can become the background score of various content pieces that you may have. Now, it didn't end there. We said, how are we going to create this sound across the world? Different parts of the world. So let's have a look at that. That was the Middle East. Let's move to Latin America. Of course, India. Different moods and occasions. An emotional moment, intimate moment. For party time like tonight, EDM. They sponsor the European League and EPL, so we created a fans chant for them. How does the Mini Mogo play out on e-commerce?
Smart speaker. Order red acrylic paint.
Your order has been placed.
There's no visual branding possible here. So a sonic branding becomes critical. Four years in a row, winner of the best audio brand globally. And I'd say, creating a sonic identity is one thing, but actually rolling it out and being committed to it so that it reflects on every piece of communication. But it's not just slapped on, it's recreated very thoughtfully with a whole strategic lens of what the brand is all about. Now, we can't ignore AI, right? So one of the things with companies and with companies such as ours, as well as all of y'all, is how do you manage the present, but how do you manage the future? And we all know that AI and music and sound is an emerging field, and there's so much happening. But how do we make it relevant for our clients and for the entire sonic branding space? So one of the things we are exploring is a concept called the Sonic Vault. Now, basically, the Sonic Vault is a one-stop repository for all audio content of the client. It's there for workflow management, and it also, when you get into generative AI, can move into content creation, right? So what does the Sonic Vault do? Essentially, it works as a warehousing and storage facility for our clients' sonic assets. You'd be surprised how many clients we have asked, do you know where your audio files reside? And the clients say, we have no idea. It's with a production house, or it's with our agency. The production house has changed, our agency has changed, we have no way to track it, right? Imagine if you had a one-stop place where all your audio assets can be stored, tracked, and called on whenever you need it. So therefore, we also plan to create an AI-powered intelligent tracking and search of all audio assets, and then move to generative AI, where once we create the Mogo and the sonic identity, we can use AI to create different versions depending on your marketing opportunities. So warehousing, really, it's about, you can filter it by BPM, by the moods. You can actually search for all your content with these different parameters using AI, and this can be very exciting. But the more interesting part is really generative AI. Now imagine, look at all your brands. You are using music in some way or the other, but all that music is unbranded. You are using playlists from maybe Spotify, from other playlist providers, and you slap it on to your digital content, social media content. But imagine if there a way where your Mogo could be integrated into all your musical content, right? AI can do this, and this is something we're working on. So this is just an example. So, you could have different parameters, tempo, slow, normal, fast. You can select your genre. Are you looking at hip-hop? Are you looking at rap? Are you looking at pop music, etc.? You can select a mood. Is it soft? Is it energetic? What kind of mood do you want? You can select a theme. Is it corporate? So on and so forth. And you can put all this together. So let's see now, say we choose acoustic as a genre, and then you can go back up and look at all the different parameters of tempo, of feel, etc. I was talking to a gentleman who has started a University of AI in Karjat. And so we're going to be having some conversations, maybe do a bit of experiment on this. But wouldn't it be wonderful that you do all this and boom, your track starts playing, right? Which you can download. You want a 30-seconder. Different moods. So that's really it. This is what we are exploring. The Mogo goes into the AI engine. You can choose your duration, you can choose mood, you can choose genre, you can choose your instrument, and then the AI engine actually creates different versions across social media content, TVC, all the ear points that we had mentioned. So that's really a quick summary of what branding, sonic branding, emotions, music, AI, and how it can all come together in the Sonic Vault, the future, is sound. Let's mogo. Thank you.